his home state, saying under Governor Gavin Newsom's leadership, it has become the, quote, fraud capital of America.
And we have team coverage. Our national correspondent, Alana Austin, is on Capitol Hill with more on the investigations into Tim Walz. But we start with correspondent Heather Myers, who has more on what is going on in California. A rainy day out there on the West Coast. Heather, what can you tell us?
Well, good afternoon to you, Katrina and Andrew. This latest report was issued by the state auditor, and that's a nonpartisan position. That state auditor now puts 8 state agencies on a high-risk list of agencies to watch out for things like fraud and mismanagement, as well as waste. Here's a look at that 92-page report. Newly added to the high-risk list is California's food stamp program. If the state doesn't get the improper payments under control, it could cost an extra $2.5 billion. Also on there is the Department of Finance, which was tasked with giving out COVID relief funds. Critics say $32 billion of that was taken by fraudsters. Then there are infrastructure issues like California's deteriorating dams and also the high-speed train that's already cost taxpayers $18 billion without a single section of track complete. Other reports cite $24 billion spent on the homeless issue that critics claim the state lost track of. More recently, there's a report that says California cell phone users paid a surcharge for years to upgrade the state's 911 system. Here's Congressman Kevin Kiley talking about what happened to that plan.
That after spending $650 million on that system, the state is totally scrapping it and starting over, completely wasting the money because the technology doesn't work. Mind you, we are very close to Silicon Valley in Sacramento, and yet the government can't figure out how to make basic technology perform.
We anticipate in the next 10 to 12 years, approximately 8 to 6 million Hispanics coming into the United States and 41 million Asians. You have been the majority minority for 400 years in this country. You have been the number 2 population for 400 years. You're going to get kicked out of being number 2. You're going to go down and become number 4. Now, common sense, even a 3rd grade education would tell you, if you didn't get anything when you were number 2, you all jumped ahead of me, but anyway, you can guess what you're going to get when you become number 4.
President Biden, do you support reparations?
Well, I mean, since I haven't spoken on this, got a chance. Number one, the reason we're the country we are is because of immigration. We've been able to cherry pick the best from every single continent. The people who come here have determination, resilience. They are ready to stand up and work like the devil. We have 24 out of 100 children in our school today is Hispanic. The idea that we are going to walk away and not provide every opportunity for them is that not only stupid and immoral, but it's bad for America. They are the future of America.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. And this is what we are faced with. And this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington, in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
We are owed $104 trillion on the very low end, plus $735 billion recurring. This number does not include the cost of about 50 Black Wall Streets that were decimated, nor compound interest from 2017 when Sean D. Rochester's book, The Black Tax, was published, nor the cost of Black life, nor the cost of living increases, nor the war on drugs, nor the current day pandemic. The number I'm working with is for slavery, Jim Crow, and accrued ongoing systemic racism, oppression, and disadvantage in the country our ancestors built with their lives.
Good evening on the West Coast. Good evening in the mountain. Good evening in the central. Good evening on the East Coast. You know exactly who it is, family. Angela Nirvana, your hostess with the mostest on the reparationist perspective. Bringing you those Negro freedmen hot topics and making the case for reparations. Making the case for delineation. Making the case to weaponize our vote and socialize our suffering. How y'all doing, family? I see you funny folks in the building. Thank you so much for joining the live. And for those of you who are tuning in from X or Facebook, if you'd like to be a part of my co-host in the live chat, please join us over on ScrewTube. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It's been a while. Yes, I know it's been a minute between my day slave and the NFL and working to get my daughter on her own two big spiritual financial feet. It's been a challenge to come to you all. Plus, I've been in my feelings. Yes, I have. Y'all know how I get. Y'all know I am a diehard empath, especially concerning the Negro. It really breaks me all the way down to the ground when I see how our reparations are being spent to ethnically cleanse us by economic genocide nationwide. Yes, I know you'll hear YouTubers act as if we're worth trillions. Nobody brings you the data. Nobody talks about what percentage of those trillions are debt. Nobody talks about how many Negroes, the largest of us, are, subsidizing our income with credit card debt to manage food and bills and the like, while the model minorities get away with fraud in the billions. Nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody wants to have a real conversation about that. So I may not have been here, y'all, but I've definitely been keeping up with the chicanery. I've definitely been keeping up with how our reparations were spent grotesquely while the Demonrats were in control of the country. Yes, yes, yes. They're the ones responsible for 25 million illegals dumped into what's left of the Negro community, the Negro freedmen community, post-gentrification, which is a whole nother way when you drop 25 million unvetted, unvaxxed illegals into what's left of our communities. That's our reparations, our taxes, and our Social Security being used to give them free housing, free EBT, which is SNAP, the food benefits, free cash aid. Now, who do you think that's coming to the expense of? The Negro. As I've been showing you guys, you could just click on any one of my 400 plus videos and you'll see me talking about this very issue. You can click on the California Reparations Task Force. I filmed about just about every one of them. I gave testimony in just about every last one of them. And you hear me talking about immigration as the albatross around the necks of Negroes. And so I've been absent for about Q4. I was supposed to come back in October, and I just felt like, am I just speaking in the wind? But you guys keep blessing the channel. Shout out to one of my biggest patrons, Amal. And when you bless the channel, I have no other choice because it tells me that you want me to keep going. It tells me that you like the reparationist perspective, that you want to hear more of this perspective, and you want to help me to make the message go viral amidst the shadow banning and the whole 9 yards. So I thank you all for continuing to bless the channel, even in my absence. That meant the world to me, and it is why I am back. The way I see it, I've got 11 months to defeat the Demonrats yet again in midterms. Okay, we recently had a big vote out here in California. Oh, what was that vote about? I sure went out there and voted against it. Oh, it was oh Lord, I can't recall off the top of my head. I'll look it up. But we had a vote, and what I'm seeing is that Negroes are getting blamed under flat blackness for delivering this BS. Prop 50, yes, family, Prop 50. Thank you, Root. Is that Root Trackers? I see you, fam. Thank you, and love my folks for joining the live in the chat. I appreciate you. Yes, it was Proposition 50, but Yaira, if you could tell me gerrymandering. Yes. That Prop 50 was about gerrymandering the vote. That's what they were seeking to do out here. And black folks got accused of going out here to vote for this. And what I'm trying to share with you all, redistricting. Thank you. A total grift. Thank you, Yaira, because Yaira is on the front lines of trying to make sure that voter ID comes back into play out here. This is the way the Demonrats are stealing whole elections. Okay? You got dead people out here voting. When you don't have to show up with the ID and cross-reference your address, anyone can be voting. And that's not just happening out here in California. That's happening in every Demon-radically ran city and state. And so, yeah, the Demonrats wanted to gerrymander the vote so that they could get more seats akin to what Texas was doing. And I'm here to tell you, we don't have enough conservative mindsets out here. And I don't mean KKK conservative. I mean Negro conservative. We were the ones to start the Repugnant Klan party. It wasn't the Repugnant Klan then. It was the Republicans. Black folks were responsible for that. And I'll bring you that on another video. But that was our party until, like everything we do in this country, it was obfuscated by the KKK from the Demonrat side. So the KKK pretty much split. And the KKK that went Repugnant Klan obfuscated our party. And then the Demonrats, who are the founders of the KKK, they stayed on the Demonrat side. Nothing happened with them other than they became slicker. They became covert. Whereas the Repugnant Klans are more overt in their racism. But I'm here to tell you that it's the Demonrats whom we've been voting 60 to 70 years. And as you can look up and see right now, we are still bottom caste in the country of our ancestors, which they built with their very lives. And so that's why I had to come back, because people want me to continue with my rally cry for a protest vote. I'm going to show you some things today between California, Minnesota, and Ohio about how your model minority has been defrauding the cities and states where we mostly reside. And you see these Demonrats getting on national TV crashing out when me and 28% of us voted for deportation, closed borders. We didn't sit on the couch and do this. We went out here and held our noses and voted in the interest of the Negro, which is to get this up out of here. And yet, Tampon Timmy, whom 90% of Black women and 77% of Black men voted for him and Skamala, he's got about $9 billion worth of fraud, but nobody's talking about the $76 billion. And by the time they finish finding all the fraud out here in California, we'll be at about $100 billion worth of fraud. You don't see them really honing in on that. They're dragging Tampon Timmy, which is good. But what about Gruesome Newscomb? Why hasn't anybody dragged him like that? You want to know why? I'm glad you asked. Because they won't really come for his jugular, because they want to ensure that he keeps the Negro sheep walking to the polls to vote for more of their ethnic cleansing by economic genocide with immigrants and illegals alike. It's both and. That's a problem since the Ellis Islanders. This has been an ongoing problem for Negroes since Plymouth Rock landed on us. And so, yeah, I have about 11 months to defeat the Demonrats again. Yes, till times get better for the Negro. Now, in 28, I'm already thinking it through. I'm not a fan of Vance, especially since he married that East Indian Brahmin caste, Yeshua, whatever, Usha, okay? He married her, and they are nothing but devout racist. So as far as I'm concerned, it's the wanton white supremacist and the Crayola with 3 Ks. So I probably will not give him a vote. I don't know. I may just put myself on the line for president. But what I do know is that y'all need to unass these couches. Y'all need to unass these couches because these illegals even know the value of the vote. And so, like I always say, y'all can't get us caught up in a perpetual cycle of lesser of two evil voting and not get that no matter how both parties suck, deportation, closed borders is a plus for the Negro. That is a tangible. Don't you let nobody else tell you otherwise. Even in the new black media, you can't afford to be lazy or you're going to become California. You're going to become Chicago. You're going to become Tennessee. You're going to become Georgia. They're taking over everywhere. And now that Trump's in charge, he's pretty much committing political warfare against the Demonrats in the same way they were trying to bury him. You see all this fraud that's being exposed? This is why they did not want Trump to win. We'd be none the wiser. Skamala was prepared to make 25 million DACA and 25 million illegals, unvetted, unvaxxed. That's 50 million more that she would have made U.S. citizens had we not gotten up off our couches and got out there to help the immigrants to defeat Skamala and Tampon Timmy. Had we not gotten up off that couch and put ourselves on the line, woe be unto the Negro. That would have been the end of the line. You can rest assured. Y'all need to be thanking everybody that had the courage to get out here and do what had to be done. Don't you even remotely sit up here and believe that sitting it out was how Trump got elected. It was a deliberate, and please, let's not get it confused. Okay, the immigrants who actually voted for Trump don't want illegals up in here either. You want to know why? They don't want to become us. They see how they were used to oppress us, to render us the highest rates of homelessness, unemployment, and underemployment. I'll get to you guys' comments at the end of the broadcast. It's probably going to be at least a couple of hours, so buckle up, buttercups. But anywho, I ain't been here in a while. I'm going to try to come more often. I'm not going to overpromise and underdeliver. But while I'm on vacation, I'm really going to try to push some content out because I'm very behind. But like I was saying, y'all, the bottom line is when you sit it out, you're playing Russian. No, you're playing Negro roulette with the line. When you don't get out here and seize control of at least your local politics. Even if you vote third party for the president, you still are going out there being active. So shout out to those who, shout out to even those who set it out. But I'm here to tell you, the immigrants who voted for deportation, closed borders, don't want illegal immigration either. They understand that the illegals will be paid less, which is going to suppress their wages. It's going to suppress the immigrant way of life. Even though they've been made whole with our reparations, they still don't want to lose their position. And so they're not sitting up here remorseful over getting out here and weaponizing their vote for Trump. Don't you believe these foolishness that you see on these folks going out here to protest against ICE? First of all, don't believe that that's Black Americans. This is a problem with blackness. You don't know who's out here voting for gerrymandering. I can almost guarantee you, with only 2 million of us in the state, that it wasn't, by and large, the Negro out here in California voting yes on Prop 50. We were out here voting no because we want to flip California red. We want to flip this itch red. We got major corporations leaving California. That's a lot of jobs. Now, jobs we are being denied, albeit, but these are corporations that pay into the tax base. They get some breaks, but they help to keep California on its axis. And they're leading in droves, along with the Negro who's been forced migration back to the South. We don't want to give up California. Not every place looks like Skid Row. Don't believe that hype either. Where Yair and I stay, it's quite lovely. But if we don't get a handle on the Demonrats out here, it will all look like Skid Row if we don't push back. So no, you don't know what percent of Negroes is out here voting against our own interest anymore, because the Demonrats only fight for immigration. Even Jamaican head of the Congressional Black Caucuses, she's Jamaican, and she's fighting for immigrants. You hardly hear anyone fighting for the Negro. Now, I don't expect Trump to fight for the Negro, but indirectly, Trump is fighting for the Negro. Indirectly, he is doing more for the Negro than the Demonrats ever have. I have never heard the Demonrats speak up on behalf of our 14A to let the world know that is for the babies of slaves. I have never heard a Demonrat boldly talk about how we built this country. Okay? I see Trump making efforts to get ICE, and I see nothing but Demonrats pushing back on him. Everybody wants to crash out about how uncivilized the deportations are, but nobody talks about the lack of cooperation from the police in these demonically ran cities and states. Nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody talks about how Trump just upped the ante from $1,000 to $3,000 for you to self-deport. Nobody wants to talk about how they are literally meeting and giving out scripts to these immigrants to act a plumb hot damn fool when the cameras are rolling, to heighten, all of the sensation around these deportations. ICE. Nobody wants to talk about how they're now attacking ICE, how they're now standing outside their hotels, not allowing them to get any sleep. Just like Trump said his first time, what do you have to lose? But Vance is no Trump. He's no hillbilly allergy. He is a rhino. Okay? He is doing what he has to do to pose as MAGA just for kicks and giggles, to try to win people to his side. You see him out here feeding red meat to the most devout racist in the camp of MAGA. I'm not MAGA. I'm independent, y'all. And I recommend and advise every Negro to change how you are registered to vote to independent. Why would you be either party? They both suck concerning the Negro, which is why I teach we must weaponize the vote and socialize the suffering over here. And so you have to understand, family, that if we don't, we are all the way out of time. And you can see it is evident by the reports that are coming through. I want to share some things with you today. So sit back and relax and weigh in. I'll be over to read some of the things that you're sharing momentarily. But I got some stuff I want to show you, and how this is impacting Negroes, and how I want to remind you, when the Demonrats are in control of the country, we are the only ones in distress. Okay, let's go to this video here.
And Fox 13 is following developing news. The Trump administration says it will pause SNAP benefits for people in states controlled by Democrats over data requests. The administration says it's because many states are refusing to provide information, including the names and immigration status of those enrolled in the program. Fox 13 has reached out to the USDA for clarification about how this impacts people right here in Washington. The Trump administration says it wants to collect the data of everyone involved in the program because it says it wants to try and stop fraud. Yesterday, new requirements for the program kicked in. It raised the age limit from 54 to 64 for people who are required to work, train, or volunteer 80 hours a month to receive help. Among other changes, veterans and those experiencing homelessness will also fall under that mandate. The Congressional Budget Office believes these changes could reduce the number of recipients by more than 2 million people over the next decade. Meanwhile, Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins told Fox Business last month that the agency found nearly 500,000 people collecting SNAP benefits in more than one state. Because of that, Rollins says all SNAP participants will need to reapply for benefits in order to stop fraud.
Now, you've got Demonrats who are withholding information on who they're giving the SNAP benefits to. So I know that most of you know that the government was shut down for a spell, and now Trump is making everybody reapply because he must make everybody reapply. There's so much fraud going on. And who is in distress when this happens? We know the majority of white folks are the ones benefiting from everything that was designed to make us whole. The Demonrats and the Republicans, in part, have found a way to take our civil rights and all of the things that were intended to make us more American and have managed to give it away to immigrants and illegals alike. And so now when you're dealing with the Demonrats not giving over the data so that the government can see where the fraud and waste and abuse is, who do you think is going to suffer the most from that? The single mothers. Why are they single? Because of the war on drugs and the war on poverty. So I know that we aren't the largest of the people that are benefiting from these things, but by and large, there's about a good 20% of us that are doing okay, well enough to go out here and make our own groceries. The other 80% are struggling. Folks want to just focus on the 20% of us, but that's not sufficient. Because if we don't concern ourselves with the 80%, that's the end of the line. So we've got to be concerned when the Demonrats don't unask the information, who is it going to impact? All over the country, we're suffering the highest rates of homelessness, unemployment, underemployment, and evictions. So that means our people need those SNAP benefits. And what are the Demonrats doing? They're denying those of us that are in need, and they're giving away our SNAP, our cash aid, our free medical. All of this is going to the illegals. And that's why you see New Scum with a $76.5 billion deficit. This is fraud. That's what's been found in fraud. Okay? Fraud alone. And it's expected to reach to $100 billion while they're focused on Tampon Timmy's $9 billion. And this is happening in every demon radically ran city and state. Every one of them. The news is only focused on Minnesota. Ohio is creeping in there. But no, wherever we are the majority, this fraud is taking place. And there's all kind of kickbacks going on. Let's take a look at it. Stand by. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Thank you in advance. Hold on, fam. I want to share this with you. How the Demonrats are in bed with the NGOs. They're getting kickbacks. Okay? I want to share this. Let me X this out and go back to what the person on X had to share about it. Denver fail. Nobody is starving. Now, this I don't agree with, okay? I believe that there are people who are going hungry behind this nonsense. And to my understanding, there's going to be another government shutdown, or at least Trump is going to be denying the federal funds for the SNAP benefits until the Demonrats unask the information. They need that data because Trump is really trying to get them off of our tax dollars. So this person shares, nobody is starving and the money does not go back to the poor. Well, that part I agree with. No, the Demonrat controlled NGOs get the SNAP money. Then the corruption happens. Overpayments, fraudulent enrollments, or administrative reimbursements create surplus funds. The NGOs then cycle money back to the Demonrats via donations, super PAC contributions, or in-kind services like get out the vote efforts disguised as community outreach. SNAP is fraud. Well, I would venture to say more than SNAP is fraud. A lot of these programs are being used to line the pockets of the Demonrats so that they can stay in control. They want to get back into power. And the only way they can achieve that is to steal it. Whether it's voter ID fraud or fraud of all these government subsidized programs. These programs aren't just state subsidized, they're also federally subsidized, okay? Let's stop sharing that. I'm going to try to keep clipping along so I get to your comments. Because I know some of you have to go to work in the morning. Not everybody's on vacation. I am so grateful for mine, but y'all, you know how that goes. You're on vacation, but the truth of the matter is, it only gives you an opportunity to like work on your own projects around the house, work on your own administrative things that you fall behind. You need to use your vacation days to catch up. But hallelujah, anyhow, I'm grateful. Thank you for joining the live. Just give me a second. I'm trying to I have so many stories open. I need to make sure I finish out the California section. Then we're going to go to Minnesota and Ohio. And then I think I'm going to try to get back to you tomorrow evening to touch on Chicago. I'm just going to try to be here as often as I can because I got a lot of work to do to defeat the Dems in 26. So I'm going to try to get here more often. Once I get back to work, we'll see. I'm going to try to come back more often, but it'll probably not be as often as I'm going to be able to on vacation, okay? Just give me a second, family. I want to close some of this stuff out so that we can move along. I had opened up so many of these for Somali fraud, Minnesota and Ohio. But then I thought to myself, I don't see enough footage on what's happening here in California. And I want to share that. So give me a second. I at least have them kind of nice and tight and concise over here. So I want to share this with you because the Demonrats have the unmitigated gall to go live and say that they're using SNAP. They're weaponizing SNAP for leverage. Let me share my screen. Meanwhile, here are prominent Democrats saying that they're using SNAP for leverage.
This is our only moment of leverage. And although a very unpleasant tool to use, this is our only moment of leverage. And although a very unpleasant tool to use.
I mean, shutdowns are terrible. And of course, there will be, families that are going to suffer. We take that responsibility very seriously. But it is one of the few leverage times we have. It is an inflection point in this budget process.
Forgive the volume. It's so imbalanced. I hope you heard that. But basically, I know that you guys recall at the height of all of this trauma swirling around the government shutdowns, the Demonrats were consistently blaming Trump for the government shutdowns. Hold on one second. Let me stop sharing that. They were constantly blaming Trump for the government shutdowns, but here you've got them admitting that they were using SNAP as a form of leverage, withholding information. So Americans who actually need it have got to get reapplied now. Okay? They cannot just pick up and resume their SNAP benefits. Chicago One Ray shared, and I'll just read this one. SNAP benefits have been paused in states controlled by it's my word, Demonrats, not theirs. Controlled by Demonrats over data request. Secretary Brooke Rollins wants the data on everyone in the program. Age limits raised for people required to work. All recipients have to reapply, which eliminates bots and illegals. Demonrats won't share that data. We all know why. Because it will expose how many illegals are actually benefiting. Now, here's a white liberal woman. Am I a bad person, she asked, because I got a little smile on my face when I found out that 42% of the people that receive SNAP benefits are white people in red states. So let me share this. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Thank you in advance.
That 42%. Am I a bad person because I got a little smile on my face when I found out that 42% of the people that receive SNAP benefits are white people in red states? Am I a bad person because I got a little...
Okay, she's got a smile on her face. We're dealing with the red states only. Okay, and once again, my fight is for Negroes so that they can continue to feed their children. I just wanted to let you know, and just to put an exclamation point on the fact that we aren't the biggest recipients. Even once the Demonrats unasked that data, you're going to see that we're not. You're going to see that we're not. And when I go through the slides for the Somalis in Minnesota and Ohio, you're really going to see that we're not. Okay? And what's happening for one group is happening for all of them. They show how under Obama, a good, I want to say 50,000 of these Somalis were allowed into the country. And they were by and large settled in Minnesota and Ohio. Minnesota has 100,000 now. They claim that only 5,000 were resettled there. This is how fast it grew to 100,000. But this is by design, family. You have to understand that when they bring in these illegals and they take over our cities and states, it is so that they can render us powerless for a vote that we don't really exercise that much know-how. We're the only ones running around here saying the vote don't matter. The immigrants ain't doing that. The illegals ain't doing that. Negroes are the only ones I hear talk about the vote does not matter. As you sit up and watch immigrants take over your local politics and leave you totally out and make things so imbalanced in terms of the benefits that were basically designed to make us American. You see them using those benefits to make them American and keep us on the bottom of the Titanic. But y'all want to, some of you not all, niggerantly run around and say your vote don't matter. And they're taking over. And so what the Demonrats have done is they have weaponized the Negro vote to ethnically cleanse us by economic genocide with immigrants and illegals. And then want to sit up and scratch their balls as to why our people need these benefits. Because you've made us bottom caste. You're going to see in tonight's broadcast how they're able to build businesses, fake businesses even, and get millions upon millions of dollars for these businesses that are fake, don't have any patients, don't have any children in the daycares. You're going to see it. What Negro do you know has been able to get away with this kind of fraud? You've got your Jesus and Obama to thank for a lot of this. He's the president for the LGBTQ. He's the president for immigrants. He's the president of the Office of New Americas. Not the president of our reparations. Not the president of our restored Freedmen Bureau. He was a no to that. Newscomb, with $76.5 billion worth of fraud that has been found so far, was a no to our repair. Oh, he used the task force. He used it to get Negroes out here fighting for him to stay the governor when there was a recall because he was found fine dining while making the rest of us go home, making the rest of us lose our jobs if we don't take that jab during the pandemic. So he found a way in the 11th hour to give us a task force on it. We got the task force, and I saw right away, you can't have a task force full of anti-Negro freedmen. That's who they are. They're anti-Negro freedmen, and they're on the task force deciding on reparations. Our first fight being lineage-based cash reparations, we're fighting melanated immigrants, Pan-Africans, for a lineage-based reparations. That's a hit and a half of your ass. You ain't got nothing coming. After 1,200 pages worth of harm, he colluded with the California Legislative Black Caucus, which ain't full of Negroes either, mostly immigrants and white folks, to tell us no to run interference when we were trying to bring the bills to the floor for a yes vote. So he gets to squander $76.5 billion, legislate the Negro out of the state we love, and then deny us a Freedmen's Bureau. Gave 12 measly million towards it and found a way to backdoor $6 million to the Cal States for genealogy studies when they don't even have a department. And the other half went to an anti-Negro nonprofit. Then they came up with another $6 million for this Freedmen's Bureau after 5 more years of studying genealogy, when your birth certificate will suffice. If you've got Negro on your birth certificate, you descend from slavery. It's not rocket science, people. If you got colored or mulatto on there, you descend from chattel slavery in this country. Now, if you don't have it on there because they started calling us African American by design to flatten us, to give our lineage away to melanated immigrants. I told y'all on previous broadcast that at an OMB meeting, they all but said, and I'm paraphrasing, that as they ethnically cleanse us by economic genocide with immigrants and illegals, they're replacing us with melanated immigrants that have nuclear families and money. You don't see them allowing impoverished Africans or Caribbeans or Haitians over in this country. Joe Crow flew them in on night flights. These are the ones that are here to replace us. That's why you don't hear them talking nothing about blackness, because they're trying to make Black American about skin tone, not lineage. Now, that's a repeat lesson for many of you who are over here watching. But for you newcomers, that is actually what happened when we were fighting for delineation. They told us, 20,000 of us who were fighting, Mark Morial came in at the 11th hour from the National Urban League and said, no, if you delineate, it's going to hurt the feelings of the melanated immigrants. when he knows good and well that the melanated immigrant is here to replace the Negro lineage. This is why they're changing our history. They've lied about those of us who were here before Columbus. They are just lie, revisionist history all the way through and through. But the Office of Management and Budget is in collusion with the Demonrats to replace the Negro. And the Demonrats have done so with y'all's votes. I stopped voting for Demonrats after 2 terms of no Obama. And if I could take those votes back, I certainly would. So I'm really here looking for my tribe, those who have the revolutionary backbone of our ancestors, the ilk who fought back. We got to do it with the vote. I have never felt more at peace than with Trump in office, because all the fights are surrounding us, and it's pretty much like the Negro has been left alone. Wouldn't you agree? Anywho, let's get back. I got too much to share. Y'all know I was born to talk. I get on a roll. Let me keep sharing. Stand by, family. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. Thank you in advance for helping me to overcome the shadow ban. More people need to hear these messages. They need to go viral because folks don't even know what's going on. Some of our folks are still voting for the Demonrats. Okay, family, just give me a second to find my next video. Okay, I shared that one. And then we'll once we finish these on California, we'll go into the other ones. If it gets too long, I'll just bring those back on another broadcast show. The ghetto. This is a mess. Okay. All right, so here's more about the SNAP benefits. Stand by. Share my screen. Okay, so this is more. Libs of TikTok breaking Trump admin to cut off SNAP funding to states who refuse to provide the data on the SNAP benefits. The only reason Demonrat states don't want to hand over data, what did I say, is because they know there's major fraud and illegals are receiving SNAP. Let's expose them here because it's not being talked enough elsewhere. It's not being talked about enough. In the mainstream media, no, it's not.
States said yes, not surprised. 29 states said yes, not surprised.
Yes, I do share a lot of Fox because I don't just watch the CNNs and stuff. They're basically the CNNs, the MSNBCs, and the CBSs are in the back pocket of the Demonrats. They're not journalists. They're Demonrat shills. They work for the Demonrats. So I don't really watch them. I try to find other news from other conservative commentators in the ScrewTube spaces. I do go to Fox on some of these things as well. I go overseas for some of my news, but I rarely will deal with those majors on the regular television because they're propagandists. They lie a lot. You know, they're becoming unglued over illegals being deported, which is what we voted for. You've never seen them become unglued when children are separated from their families. I've never seen them become unglued when our children get taken and forced into the foster care system, which turns them out to the world after major abuses. They end up swept under missing persons, under organ harvesting, under sexual traffic. Yeah, that's what's happening. And I don't see any of these libtards passing out and losing their entire ish over that. Never see it. I never see them concerned about how I've been seeing videos of these fathers behind bars still serving time for low-level offenses like marijuana while the states turn a profit, while white folks run the marijuana shops. You're seeing videos now where they're doing daddy-daughter dances behind bars, dressing them up, putting lipstick on a pig. I don't see them having any outrage over that. I don't see them marching and protesting against that. Yeah. But when it comes to illegals who are suppressing the wages and getting in positions of hiring power where they're not hiring Negroes, where in a lot of democratically ran city and states, they're demanding you. In the country our ancestors built with their lives to know Spanish. Trump said federally, English is the standard in this country. But the states aren't complying with that. They can discriminate against you. They can pay you less if you're not bilingual. They don't even have to interview you. And when you speak Spanish as fluently as Pedro, you don't have the complexion for hire. I don't see nobody wailing and gnashing their teeth about that. I see a bunch of immigrants and illegals begging for us to come and help, but don't you dare unask your rest. Don't you dare get out in these streets and help them do a hot darn thing. Because I'm here to tell you, the minute they're done using you as a human bulletproof vest, they'll be back to who they are at their core. Crayolas with 3 Ks. Trust me when I tell you. Okay? Trust me when I tell you. So let's listen to this. Stand by. Am I sharing it? Yep.
In February of this year, we asked for all the states for the first time to turn over their data to the federal government, to let the USDA partner with them to root out this fraud, to make sure that those who really need food stamps are getting them, but also to ensure that the American taxpayer is protected. 21 states said yes, not surprised. 29 states said yes, not surprisingly, the red states. And that's where all of that data, that fraud comes from. But 21 states, including California, New York, and Minnesota, blue states, continue to say no. So as of next week, we have begun and will begin to stop moving federal funds into those states until they comply and they tell us and allow us to partner with them to root out this fraud and to protect the American taxpayer. As Joe Biden was working to buy an election a year ago, he increased food stamp program funding by 40%. So now as we continue to roll that back. In February of this year, we asked for all the states for the first.
So there you have it. There you have it. And who does this hurt? Our poor. Who've been made poor. You see, what all this fraud has exposed is that we're not the ones that are thieving. We're not the murderous ones. We're not the rapists in the numbers that they like to do under flat black. You see all these immigrant groups who once identified as Somali or African, Nigerian, or whatever they would call themselves, be no black. All of them all of a sudden are trying to identify as Black American now. Even that scamming ass Ilhan Omar. Now that she's in hot water and Trump is looking for ways to deport her, all of a sudden I hear blackity black, black, black in everything she's saying. So yeah, they're going to be begging and appealing to you to unask your rest, to get out here and to be their human bulletproof vest. But I can promise you They will give you their asses to kiss after you save them. On the heels of saving them, they will go back to being who they are. For the first time, like I said earlier, it's the first time I've experienced any real rest while all these other groups fight one another and begging, where are the Black Americans at the No Kings protest? Here, the whole entire country was run by Autopen, but they want to sit up here and have a No Kings protest against Trump. Here they are, the Demonrats. Stole 2 primaries and an election, allegedly, in my opinion. But they want to go out here and have a No Kings protest, y'all. It was hilarious out here where I stay. They were all on the street, nothing but a sea of white folks. Honey, I went to the beach to get my steps in. I was like, excuse me. I am not here to help you in your efforts. I'm here to rest and relax and get my workout in. I'm not here to do a hot damn thing. Honey, if looks could kill, I'd be flat dead. They're screaming and protesting and looking at me like, aren't you going to help? Hells to the no. I'm minding my own Negro freedman business. It was a sight to behold. I forgot that was going to be their day. They were everywhere out here by the waterfront. Honey, it gave me great satisfaction to go up and down my Stairmaster, which is the hill. I was going up and down, and they're looking at me like, do you want a sign? Honey, please. I had my headphones on as they were screaming and trying to get my attention. Child, the ghetto. It was hilarious. And I had never felt more at peace. The irony of it all. Trump's the king, but y'all steal primaries and elections. But Trump is a dictator. Let's keep going. Okay, I don't know if I did this one already. Let's get into it, y'all. Anyway, it's a mess. Share screen. So, reach around and give yourselves a big pat on the back, folks. You did it. They heard you. Trump admin requiring all 42 million people on SNAP must reapply in order to receive SNAP benefits. So let's talk about the numbers here. 186,000 dead people were collecting. Yesterday, a viral video of a woman getting $23,000 in benefits. Enough. Let's hear what Newsmax has to say about it.
Never before. On day one, when I was sworn in, which was earlier this year in February, the very first thing I did was send letters to every single state in America and said, never before has the federal government asked for the data, but it is a new day. President Trump is the president. We know there's a lot of fraud. We need to help partner with you all to figure out how to make sure that this money and these benefits go to those who truly need it and not rife with fraud and corruption. 29 states, mostly the red states, responded with their data sets February, March, April. So the numbers that you're talking through, those are numbers that we have been collecting and analyzing since early summer, late spring. Okay. The fact that this spotlight shined on SNAP has allowed us to talk about it. But here's the most unbelievable news I have really just over the last few days, that 5,000 dead people, that was just 1 month. The number is closer to 186,000 deceased men and women and children in this country are receiving a check. Now, that is what we're really going to start clamping down on. 500,000 are getting 2. But here's the really stunning thing. This is just data from those 29 mostly red states. Can you imagine when we get our hands on the blue state data, what we're going to find? It's going to give us a platform and a trajectory to fundamentally rebuild this program, have everyone reapply for their benefit, make sure that everyone that's taking a taxpayer-funded benefit through SNAP or food stamps, that they literally are vulnerable and they can't survive without it. And that's the next step here.
Well, boom, there it is. Thank you so much, family, for sharing the live. I so appreciate you. Let me stop sharing that, y'all. Let me see. I got to get my spectacles on for this one now, y'all. Let's see. Who is this? Omowali, the elder 6420. Thank you so much. Says, I'm loving it, my beautiful sister. Talk that talk. I just shared your live stream. My cousin is in Texas, wishing the worst on the orange man because she no longer has Medicare and or Medicaid and whatever else, says Root Trackers. Yes, family, I'm going to get into y'all stuff. Give me, Lord, I may have to wrap this up and come back with the Somali stuff because I really am eager to get into your comments, and I don't want to make the video too long. And y'all know I got to deal with California because ain't nobody really dealing with California like that. I'm almost done with these videos, and then what I'll do is come and read your comments. Oh, Lord, am I? I thought I was almost done. Lord, I've collected quite a few. Let me see what I can jump up to. Hold on one second. Let's see. I can skip around. So this one here says, this is an investigative report. Tough competition with Minnesota. California is the fraud capital of America. So let me run the numbers down to you. 32, let's memorialize it here. I want to share these figures. Stand by, y'all. You got to see this. So Fuzzy Walrus 18 shares tough competition with Minnesota. California is the fraud capital of America. 32 billion in unemployment fraud. Yes, they were giving the illegals all type of unemployment insurance. 32 billion in unemployment fraud, 24 billion in homeless funds lost. Now, this is me speaking. They give these people fake Social Security cards. They give them, as you saw, with these CDL licenses. California was giving away CDLs to folks who couldn't even read English and is out here killing Americans. Lots of fraud going on in California. They're not talking about it because, like I mentioned prior, the goal is to push Newsom, gruesome Newsom, through as president. So I want to highlight California first because everybody else is talking about the Somali stuff. And I just want to show you Somali is a drop in the bucket. 9 billion ain't nothing compared to 76.5 billion. 24 billion in homeless funds lost. 18 billion on non-existent bullet train. 650 million on scrapped 911 system. A scathing report from the state auditor. This is bipartisan, y'all, this audit, as they sit up here and lie and say the audit was a lie. No, it's bipartisan. A scathing report from the state auditor just identified 8 separate state agencies as high risk. This means they exhibit serious waste, fraud, abuse, or mismanagement, costing we, the taxpayers, billions. While Newsom tells us no to repair and gives us $6 million towards a Freedmen Bureau, and then want to put another 5 years genealogy study with the Cal states that ain't even got a genealogy department when a birth certificate will do. The number has doubled during Newsom's tenure. Which guy do you think has embarrassed their state more? Well, the question is, which one has been given the spotlight? And it sure ain't been California, and that's why I'm talking about it, okay? So this is investigations of improper activities by state agencies and employees. California, if you want to look that up, okay? Moving on. Stand by, y'all. Moving on. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. Thank you in advance. Okay. Let me cancel that and then go to my thing and pull it up first. Okay. Okay, so here's more news about it and the breakdown. California just got exposed as the ultimate fraud capital under Newsom's watch. A fresh state audit flags 8 agencies at high risk. Already shared that. Break it down. $32 billion vanished in unemployment scams during the pandemic. $24 billion poured into homelessness programs with zero real tracking or results. Homeless numbers are still skyrocketing. $18 billion blown on a high-speed rail to nowhere with no operable tracks after years of overruns. Representative Kevin Kiley nailed it. This isn't bad luck. It's systemic theft. While Newsom distracts with his national ambitions, time to drain the swamp in Sacramento before another dime disappears. Yeah, we're going to talk about Cali. We got to, fam, because like I said, the mainstream media ain't really talking about this like that. This is the real fraud right here. Okay, hold on, y'all. I shared that one. So Doge AI Texas shared California's $76.5 billion fraud scandal isn't shocking. It's the predictable result of unchecked progressive governance. Newsom's administration has turned the state into a fiscal black hole, prioritizing illegal immigrant benefits over the citizens, over those of us who are owed reparations. The Medicaid collapse alone proves systemic theft, bloated contracts, ER abuse by non-citizens, and bureaucratic grift drain resources meant for veterans and seniors, and the Negroes whom they've legislated out of the state. Demonrats call it, that's my word, compassion. It's looting. Musk is right. Cutting federal aid would force accountability, but real reform starts with mass audits, deportation enforcement, and dismantling the welfare for illegal pipeline. And this is why you saw them under Joe Crow coming in droves to this country for all the freebies that the Negro is denied. I shared with y'all in a previous broadcast about one of my parishioners who applied for EBT. She earns about $2,200 a month in Social Security. She is in her 80s, got displaced from her mobile home because they kept hiking. She didn't buy the land, and it came to a point where they stopped selling the land. And when you are leasing the land, they kept increasing the lease every year on her, to the point where it was eating into half of her Social Security that she gets monthly. Do you know she was denied for EBT? That's just to give you some perspective as to what's happening to our seniors, specifically Negro freedmen, who built the wealthiest country in the free world. She gets denied when half her money is going towards space rent. Now she's had to relocate to an apartment. She had to move her huge mobile home, give away as much as she could. She's crammed into a 2-bedroom, having to rent one of the bedrooms out, and has at 83, like I want to say 20 stairs she's got to climb while on a cane just to get into her apartment. So when it rains, she can't even leave her home because she's fearing that she's going to fall down those steps. I just had to go over at the church because she had asked if I would come by to help her get her groceries up to her house. Breathe. Every dollar stolen from taxpayers funds this corruption. It's time to end the scam. Let me keep going so I can get to your comments. It's very frustrating, you all. Sometimes I'm just too mad to come and report about it. I'm just too angry. Okay. I think this is the last video on this. And then I'm going to come read your comments and pray us out. And we'll come back tomorrow with the other slides. I just don't want to wear myself out, nor you guys, okay? Y'all know I just be talking and talking and talking and talking. Hold on one second. I don't think I shared this one yet. California state auditor found the state lost track of $24 billion in homelessness funds, let $32 billion in unemployment fraud go through, and doubled the number of high-risk agencies. Okay, we'll share this and then we'll come to your comments. Let me pause it and start it over.
Yeah, so this came from the nonpartisan state auditor, which essentially christened California the fraud capital of the United States, with the number of agencies classified as high risk, meaning there's rampant fraud, abuse, mismanagement. It has doubled during Gavin Newsom's tenure from 4 agencies to 8 agencies. So we're talking about all kinds of fraud when it comes to Medicaid, when it comes to SNAP benefits, when it comes to uninsurance benefits. And all of this, by the way, comes on top of the incredible fraud and waste and mismanagement that we already knew about. The high-speed train where there's been no track laid in 17 years, spending $18 billion, the $32 billion during COVID at a minimum of unemployment insurance fraud, the $650 million on a canceled 911 next generation system that was canceled because the technology wasn't there. And so California is absolutely, under this governor, the fraud capital of the United States. And this is exactly the model that Governor Newsom wants to take to the rest of the country.
Well, you got the governor's attention because he responded to you saying, quote, Kylie is wrong. The auditor's high-risk list does not allege wrongdoing or billions in currency lost. It is a management tool used to target complex programs for heightened oversight and corrective action. Representative Kylie's claims are flat out false and misrepresent both the state auditor's report and the facts. Quick, your reaction to this.
I'd invite anyone to read the audit. And by the way, there have been other audits, like the one that found that $24 billion was spent on homelessness and they lost track of the money.
Yeah. And, you know, you can look at the bottom line there in the state of California. They're billions of dollars in debt. Congressman Kylie, thank you so much for joining us tonight on the.
There it is. So what the moral of the story, family, is if a demon rat is speaking, they're lying. If the demon rats are talking, they are lying. Okay? Just know that. Thank you, co-host, for keeping it lit. I'm going to run through your comments and just cherry pick off the most pertinent ones. I thank you so much for keeping it lit over here. And I'll comment. Oh, thank you, George Wichard III. Reparations perspective. I pray you had a positive and happy holiday. I absolutely did. And I trust the same was true for you all. Listen, I just said I'm going to wait till after the holidays to jump back in because I've been gone for about 3 months. Just managing life, you know, life is happening all over the place and trying to get my daughter on her own 2 big spiritual financial feet and trying to ensure that I am the reparations in the event this fight doesn't lead to anything material for her. I've got to be that for her as you have to be that for your families. So I trust the same was true for you all, that you've just really been enjoying your resting phase. I really hope you've been resting and not getting involved and not allowing this to disrupt the calm peace of your soul. I know that's a challenge of exponential proportion, but it's very necessary to decompress and to let them fight amongst themselves. The whites against the whites against the immigrants against the immigrants. Everybody's looking for Black American Negro freedmen, and we're resting. A well-deserved, much-needed rest. So yes, I had an amazing time because I just make up my mind to have a great time, y'all. Love my life. Oh, wait. I love my folks. Okay. I need my glasses for this part, y'all. It's a little too small for me. Let me see. Can I blow up the screen? Oh, then I can't see your comments. We must continue. Love my folks. Thank you, family, so much for joining the live. We must continue to vote against policies that benefit other groups. Yes, midterms are coming up. And we need to keep the Trumplicans in office. Yes, we do. Love my folks. Thank you for concurring. Yes, family. We've only got this, the beauty of having Trump in control of the country. Not that I agree with everything he's doing. God knows. But Trump only became a racist when he started running against the Demonrats and running against the rhinos and kind of blazing his own trail. Honey, I've seen so many videos of Trump in the past. I used to be a real fan of his show, The Apprentice. He never struck me as a racist. I mean, he's racist to the degree that most white folks are. But I mean, like this demon that they try to make him out to be while trying to paint themselves out to be Negro lovers. It's a lie, and the truth ain't in them, okay? So yes, the Demonrats are doing everything in their power to get back in power, and we must maximize Trump these next 3 years. I really pray that the grassroots, people like Chicago Flips Red, can get at a table and fight for the reparations we are long overdue. That is my hope and my prayer, is that we move around the Demonrats who refuse to have a conversation with Trump both times he's been in power, because they're fighting for the interest of immigrants and illegals. That's why they won't go to Trump and talk to him on our behalf. Prayerfully, someone from the grassroots will rise up and have those much needed conversations and really get our people whole. We've got 3 years left to make this happen, but our fight and our protest vote must extend for about as long as the Demonrats have weaponized our votes to make us bottom cast, always overpromising and under-delivering. Our job is to make sure they never get back in power until they get some act right, unask our reparations. Okay, we've given them enough trifectas for them to have done that, and they continue to play in our faces. So yes, it's punishment time. This is a protest vote. And you have to EQ out a tangible like deportation, closed borders. Love my folks. It's absolutely correct. Keep the Trumplicans in office and continue to rest. Okay. Wonderful. Okay. I can't see the other comments when I do that. Oh, thank you, Perry Donna. $5 in your Cash App, Angela. Thank you for blessing the channel. Yes. If you'd like to bless the channel, is $TRPTV Cash App. Okay, I'm going to run my banner so you'll see it there. Let's see. Yes. Thank you, Perry. I appreciate the blessing, because please know, family, I am being shadow banned and demonetized, and you hear why. But thankfully, I'm still able to go live thanks to your gifts and contributions. So thank you, Perry. That's very generous of you. Okay. Root Trackers, we will pace this out. Enough going on to discuss. For real, for real. Trump is not the staunch anti-Black Joe Crow is. Thank you, Yaira. I concur. And I just want to say again, both parties suck for the Negro, but this is a protest vote. You cannot get the Negro caught in a perpetual cycle of lesser of two evil voting for 70 years and then decide to sit it out. They have declared war on us with our own vote. This is a whole plan to ethnically cleanse us. And while y'all screaming, Trump bad, I'm here to tell you, he's done more for the Negro than the Demonrats ever have. He has done more for the Negro in this year with deportations. And trust me when I tell you, he's not going to be able to get much done. At the rate he's going, he might be able to get rid of 10% of the ones that got in here illegally. But he don't have enough time to get rid of the 25 million that are here illegally. It's not going down like that. So we must keep the pressure on and keep fighting and show up to the polls. Declare yourself an independent and show up to the polls to vote in the interest of the Negro line, or it's going to be the end of the line. Love my folk, we need to look at forming our own political party. Anything can happen to Trump. When his time is up, we'll have no political relevancy. We need to prepare for this. Love my folks, you're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. I don't know who's going to do it. But we do need our own party. We need our own caucus, at least. I know that Son Powell in Maryland is doing wonderful things, rubbing elbows with all of who's who. Even the mayor of Maryland, Wes Moore, who denied a reparations study and then went about doing nothing for the Negro. That's a whole nother story. I'm not going to start down that rabbit hole. That's a whole nother broadcast. But we need our own caucus if we ain't got nothing else. We need our own caucus. We need to get people in office. We need to get the immigrants out of office because they are in power in every democratically ran city and state. You just saw Mondami, who used African American to educate himself in this country, comes from money. Mama's a big wig in Hollywood. I can't recall what the dad did, but when we visit New York and the parlay tricks there and how hard it is for them to get cash repair there, we'll get into how the immigrants have forced migrated us south out of New York as well. Just like out here. So we got to show up to deny them office because in many instances, they are worse than the wanton white supremacists. The Crayolas are worse. They will tell you no in a flash. They ain't got a problem with it. Everything they do is for their own interest. And we've got to get them out. Mario, hi Mario, another patron of the broadcast. Mario says, thank you for your contributions to the broadcast too, Mario. California fraud, capital of America. Yep, absolutely. Mario, he's out here. He knows. Or did you relocate, Mario? I'm not sure if you're still in California. Let me know. Oh, Perry says he's been demonetized since 2018. Do you have a broadcast? Put it in the chat. I'll go check it out. Yeah, honey, I've been demonetized and shadow banned, but the show must go on. It must go on. I got too much to talk about. Root Checker says they never had that same Trump bad energy for the Demonrats. And that's what's so problematic. They're all too willing to point out the things that are wrong about Trump while living in a glass house. You've got to talk about your own party, especially when it comes to the Negro lineage. I don't think they're us, y'all. I don't know who these melanated people are. I don't know if they're Negro or, because let me tell you something. These melanated immigrants who are born here, first and second gen, they have picked up our vernacular. They have picked up our accents. They're changing their names. They're scrubbing where they descend from. You would think that they were straight up and down one of us. That's how much they sound and look like us. They've morphed into us to continue to take advantage of our benefits. So I can't say for sure if it's Negroes that are out here crashing out for illegals and for the Demonrats. I can't say for certain because black is flat. And that's why I demand delineation. But you're absolutely correct. I don't know that they don't have that same energy for Demonrats, because I don't know which black is actually out here talking crap about Trump. I don't know if they're Negro or if they're melanated immigrant. Benton 7560 says, sadly, these old boomer Negroes will still vote for the Demonrats. Nothing's going to change unless they all die out, which is happening as we speak. Yes, Benton 7560, you're absolutely correct. One of the most exhausting exchanges I have is with the boomers. But let me tell you something. The Gen X, the Gen Z, the millennials, they are forced to be reckoned with. And we've awakened. Our third eye is open, wide open, and we're not sitting down taking it anymore. We understand the stakes are high. The boomers, by and large, got all their goodies, got their homes, and they're just chilling. They want to die peaceably. But the Gen X, which I am, and the millennials and the Gen Zs, they're wired very differently. As a matter of fact, of the 23% of black men who voted for Trump, the majority of them were our young black men. Our Gen Z, I don't know about Gen Z. Gen X and millennial, they were younger. They weren't the boomers. You can hear them all over Chicago saying, when this one foreigner was asking them who were they going to vote for, Kamala or Trump, they said loudly and proudly they were voting for Trump. I couldn't have been prouder. It was like, are you crazy, Ninja? Are you crazy? I'm voting for Trump. It was rich to see the brothers, the young brothers in the hood. I've shown that video on some previous lives, but it was rich. If I can find it again, I'll share it with you all on a different broadcast. We got to get to the comments and pray out. But those are the ones who had the backbone of our ancestors. Those are the ones who are being denied jobs in their own communities. Those are the ones that are being denied trade school. They're being denied housing. They're caught up in the preschool to prison pipeline. And they said, we vote for Trump. Are you crazy? So our young people, don't discount them. And when you see the negative reports out here, you should have seen enough of the news to know it's not all Negro black that's out here doing all this heinous stuff. It's a lot of melanated immigrants who are thrown into the black bucket under flat blackness that are doing these heinous things. So don't throw your people away. Lots of propaganda, lots of lies being told on the Negro under flat blackness. Delineation now. That's my square. Delineation, reparations. Okay? Man, dummy. Tether straight up. See, Perry's a baby boomer. And I think like those other boomers believe that. Well, yeah, Perry is on our side. We got quite a few. Arthur Ward, we got quite a few Negro freedmen out here that are boomers, and they get it. Okay, they're not sitting down taking this crap. I'm a boomer, and I don't think like those other boomers. Believe that. Yes. Black out here are only 2.2 million. How many are old enough to vote? Black out here are only 2.2 million. I don't know what that means. Pinky Wells, welcome to the live. It seems like I jumped. Hold on, y'all. I think this thing jumped over some comments. Let me make sure. Yes, it did jump. Root Trackers by Yaira says, good day, I love my folks. Yes, it passed because folks have no idea. If we get required voter ID on the ballot next year and it passes, we won't need to worry. Yes, what Yaira is speaking on is Prop 50. which gerrymanders the vote out here to guarantee Demonrats stay in control. Well, the reason why it passed is because of the immigrants who show up to vote, while Negroes vote the couch. But do understand that we don't really have many Negroes out here anymore. I think in the entire state, there's about 200,000 of us. But when you deal with the Hispanics, they're like 1.5 million. That's what the Demonrats have done to the Negro. They have forced a migration south. Between the discriminatory hiring practices, the high taxes, the median home price to purchase is around $1 million. So they have legislated us out. So that's why I'm saying of the blacks that are remaining, the ones that are flourishing are the Africans out here, the Caribbeans. These are the melanated immigrants who are lumped into our numbers to make it appear that we're doing better than what we really are. I've shared with you all the data in the past. For you newcomers, you can look this up. It's a free PDF. African blacks were 60,000 liquid to U.S. black, 200 liquid. African black was 54% degreed to U.S. black, 43% degreed. African blacks' median income was $113,500 to U.S. black median income of $53,500. Hispanics were 17% degreed, and yet their median income was $50,000 within $3,500 of U.S. black, the Negro, median income. This was over 20 years ago. That's a 2004 to 2014 Color of Wealth LA PDF. It's free. You can look it up. And you'll see the data for Miami. You'll see the data for Boston. You'll see these melanated immigrants and all the other immigrants thereafter, including the white immigrants, the Ellis Islanders. You're going to see how they're beating the brakes off of everything as compared to the Negro, who's been rendered bottom caste. So when you're talking about who's voted for that Prop 50, who voted to keep the Demonrats in control, of course, it's immigrants and illegals, because voter ID is not required out here. Okay? So they're able to go to the polls. They're able to register as dead people, vote as dead people. It's a lot of voter fraud going on when ID is no longer required. And Yaira is a part of those efforts to get voter ID on a ballot. We literally have to vote to require ID at the polls. You see, that's the way they stole the election from Trump back in 2020. They weaponized that pandemic and did a lot of fraud with the mail-in votes. Okay, let's keep going, y'all. These lights are hot. I got on this sweater. I got on my little neck fan, but I am still burning up, y'all. I think Trump has surrendered California. That's a scary thing. I hope not, family. But the way it's not really being talked about, the fraud that's going on out here, I don't know. You might be right, and that's a scary, scary thought. I think the remaining black population has checked out. But I do agree we need voter ID at the polls. Yeah, family, well, I agree they may have checked out, but a lot, that's nationwide. A lot of them voted the couch. And I feel it's very irresponsible to our lineage to vote the couch, because we've got children and grandchildren. We need to have a country for them. And We can't take up arms. We're outmoneyed. We're outmanned. We're outgunned. And in a minute, if we continue giving up and voting the couch and not running for office, it's going to be the end of the line. And what's going to happen to our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren? We can't afford to give in, up, or out. We must keep going and weaponize the only thing we've got left, which is our vote. Chi-Town might vote blue no matter who again. No. Root Trackers, they can't. They can't. If they have a pulse and they can see what Brandon is doing to the Negroes there, they will not do it. And they are out of time too. He has opened the floodgates, and now their taxes on their properties have been hiked 133%. I'm going to be bringing that story to you sometime this week when we go into Chicago. But it's really a nightmare. And if they continue to vote for it, they will be forced migrated back south as well. And that's not going to serve them, because immigration and illegals are down south as well. This is not just impacting California anymore. It's happening nationwide. And if the Demonrats get back into control in the midterms, and if they take the presidency, we're done. You think they ain't talking about us now? You think we're not relevant to the Demonrat Party now? You ain't seen nothing. You ain't seen nothing like what you gonna see if we do not hold the line and weaponize these votes for deportation, closed borders until times get better for Negroes. I'm here to tell you, ain't nothing different gonna happen concerning war or all these things. The Demonrats are in bed with Israel. They're packed up too. Nothing's gonna be different about those things. But what will be significantly different is those Demonrats will allow more foreigners into this country and make them citizens with the black vote if we don't get out here and protest with our votes. I'm not saying take to the streets. I'm saying show up midterms and make sure Trump has control of both the House and the Senate. Yes, when the Demonrats are in control of the country, the Negro is the only one in distress, because it is the intent of the Demonrats to have a whole new voter base, and they're using our votes to accomplish their mission, to ethnically cleanse us and our justice claim. So I pray you're wrong about that. That's why I'll be going into Chicago. Indeed, they have. It is disgusting. Well, Vote the Couch was the most agency slogan I've heard. All it did was politically neutralize us. Absolutely love my folks. And the challenge I have with it is that the majority in the new black media was pushing this nonsense. And they've got bigger platforms than me. That is what's so hurtful. People whose content I otherwise respect are still pushing the couch. And they feel very self-righteous, like they've done something new. No, the only time you actually showed to the polls was when Obama, the Kenyan American, ran for office. But you can see what Voting the Couch has been doing, since 40% of y'all do it on a regular anyway. It's rendered us bottom cast. It clearly is not working. The illegals voted for Trump in California because they wanted us to be deported. Yes, you're right. It's the dumbest thing. But a lot of immigrants and illegals don't know the history. They really only voted for Trump because they thought the Negroes could be deported. believe it. This is where listening to white folks gets you all hemmed up. You see, because these white devils, they groom them. They groom them to hate us, to disassociate with us, and they're too niggerant to pick up a book and study the history of us. If you're hearing white folks tell you to distance yourself from the Negro, that's a hint and a half for your ass to ally with the Negro. But they're all too stupid and literally thought if we vote for Trump, it could get rid of the Negro who descend from the ancestors who built the country with their very lives. It's comical. It's just boomerang. That's all I can say on that. Boomerang. Okay? Chicago almost had 40% pro-Trump vote, but locally, they are still stuck on blue. The online viral activists need to get offline and go door to door to reach the people. Viral videos ain't nothing. Okay, love my folks, this is where I have to disagree. When I started my protest voter strategy, my Negro protest voter strategy, I was told the same thing. By the time my messages went viral, 28% of us went out here and got it done. Okay? So, no. We need both and, not either or. These messages going viral, your one specific message may not, but you're sowing seeds. You're sowing seeds every time you go live. Do you think I can go door to door and not get gunned down out here in California where it's predominantly melanated immigrant? I've been out here boots on the ground. Most of the flyers I was passing out about reparations, where do you think they ended up? Torn in my face, thrown to the floor. Because the people that look like us don't give a damn about our reparations. They're in every task force, sitting on the task force and fighting against us to be repaired. They're in office, fighting against us to be repaired. They're in the streets, fighting against us being repaired. So no, you must go viral. You must use your vote and boots to the ground. But what I know about Chicago Flips Red, they are boots on the ground. They are at every city council. Miss Jessica, Danielle, Zoe, Mr. Blakemore. Those are my 4 superhero and sheroes. They out there giving Brandon Johnson the balloons. Oh, I thought I had a mouth on me. Honey, it just makes me smile and laugh and giggle all over when I see them at the city council meetings reading Brandon Johnson from Genesis to Revelation. So no, they're doing both. And there's quite a few with boots on the ground. Shout out to Hassan Powell doing big things in Maryland, getting it done. But we need both. Because, honey, I reach more people nationally than I do in California, boots on the ground. Because we're not out here no more. And that's how that works. A lot of people haven't left California. Many have moved to the outskirts where it's cheaper because they can't afford to leave. Love my folks, you're absolutely right. They've been forced out of California because they can't afford to move, but I don't have the exact data. I do know that quite a few have gone to the South, those that can afford to move. But yes, we've been pushed out of the city of LA, and that's very unfortunate because like I was sharing at the top of the show, Barack, during his tenure, when Negroes put him in office for 2 consecutive terms, there were about 50,000 Somalis that came into the country. Most went, about 5,000 or so. This is going to be on tomorrow's broadcast, so I'm not going to talk about it too much here. But About 54,000 in states, 5,000 of them went to Minnesota. And they're now over 100,000 in Minnesota. Some of them went to Ohio. And so, yeah, what they're doing is guaranteeing that these immigrants get control by putting large enclaves of them in certain parts of places where we've got the numbers. They're plopping them into those communities. And when we vote the couch or vote Demonrat, these are the ones that are getting elected. These are the ones that have the higher, the bigger voices. So you've got huge enclaves of Somalis, many of whom are on welfare, but many of whom have businesses and are flourishing in a way that we aren't allowed to do. Our stuff gets burned down. We're not allowed to congregate and rebuild our Wall Streets that they came through and leveled. But they're allowing Asians to do it, Somalis to do it, Africans to do it. You can find a Chinatown, a Somali town, Ethiopia, African villages. You can find that in this country where the Negro is not afforded that because they know what we did during the first Reconstruction with hardly nothing. That's why they're refusing to give us repair. But they'll never give us reparations if we don't weaponize the vote. Like my mama used to say when it came to dating, why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free? Why would the Demonrats give us reparations if they see that we're either going to vote the couch or we're going to show up and vote for them? Why would they give you reparations if they can get your vote for free? So, yeah, I believe that quite a few have moved to the outskirts, fam. That's probably very true. I just don't have the data because black is flat all over the country. J.D. Vance is a progressive. His mentor is an immigrant. He also benefited from the progressive green funding. He's playing a role because his book castigated white people and said they're losers. Are you talking about hillbilly elegy? He's playing a role. But what I love about these racists is that they kind of cool on J.D. Vance. They'll applaud, but I don't know that they'll make him president because they don't like his Indian wife, honey. They want very much for J.D. Vance and for Erica, Charlie's wife. You know, she out here celebrating while he's been annihilated out in these streets. Anywho, I'm not going there. I've already done a broadcast, but they want so bad for him to give up Usha and marry Erica Kirk. That lily white liar, okay? She's such a liar. The truth ain't in her, child. Anyway, like I said, I'm not going to delve into that, but that's about the only way J.D. Vance is going to get some power. Because, let me tell you something. Them crackers in Columbus, in Ohio, they are giving Vivek the blues. They don't want, you can sit up here and as long as you talking crap about the Negro, you're cool, but you'll never be cool enough to lead us. You'll never be cool enough to be the governor. They ain't vote for him. They getting their Indian wake-up call, okay? And Vance about to get that work. He done married the wrong woman to have ambitions to become the president. Because you can trust, if King and American Barack Obama was married to a snow bunny or a melanated immigrant, oh, he would have never got my vote. I don't know about y'all's. Especially if he was married to a snow bunny. Oh, no. He got the vote because he was married to Michelle. We fell for that trick bag because she's Negro. But she's a progressive libtard. Okay? So, no, Michelle, you're not going to get the vote. No, Kamala, who's trying to run for a third time, you will not get the vote. I'll work overtime to make sure I defeat y'all. Okay? But yeah, fam. So JD Vance, I know he's putting on a game. He said up here something I saw recently. What did his itch ass say? He said, white folks no longer have to apologize for being white. First of all, when have y'all ever apologized for being white? Secondly, what you really meant was you don't have to apologize about being the demon seeds you are. You don't have to apologize about your culture of bloodshed and thievery. That was your subtext. But I give zero damns about your apology, JD Vance. Cut the check. Cut the check. We don't need apologies. We need Reconstruction 2.0. That's what we need. We need them checks in the quadrillions for as long as it took for you to make us bottom caste. Since we fought and won our emancipation, you need to run us that Skrilla. Keep your apologies. We get zero damns about that. Trump is just warming up. Let's see what happens to the anchor babies in February. Some say our reparations counts are on that passing. Some say our reparations count on that passing. Well, I know you're talking about the 14A. That's why you see folks trying to run cover. They went from me no black to me black. It's just a hot ass mess. But that 14A is going to be very telling. And I thank you, Trump. You see, folks want him to say he's going to end birthright citizenship. We already locked in, y'all. If you have, see, that's why Negro love is revolutionary. Negro love, marriage, and babies is the revolution. Because, see, when you marry an immigrant or an Ellis Islander, same thing, immigrant, you done cut your reparations checks in half, okay? You're not going to get as much. But when you are invested with a Negro, y'all lock arms, Negro to Negro, y'all have some Negro babies, everybody getting broke off, okay? That broadcast is coming too. Negro love is a real revolution. Seriously. But yeah, Trump is just warming up. And we're going to see what's going to happen with that 14A. But y'all ain't got to worry about it ending. The gate is up. The Negro is locked in. You hear them? They coming for y'all next. Do y'all know anybody personally that's been, captivated and captured by ICE? I don't know no Negroes that have. And even if they were caught up, they were released. I don't know much about it. So, yeah, but that's the hope and the prayer. I mean, they are chanting it like they wanted to come into fruition. Y'all gonna be next. We on lock. He ain't even talk. He can't end the birthright citizenship, but he can end it for anchor babies. He can end it for birther tourism. He can end it for illegals who drop their babies over here and get all the benefits that are due us under our 14A while hating us, while denigrating us. He can end that. That's what I voted for. So please, Negroes, you ain't got to worry. Birthright citizenship is not ending. He's talking about putting a stop to it for all these other folks that have anchored themselves to our reparations, our taxes, our Social Security, what used to be our affirmative action, what's never been our DEI, okay? That's what he's ending. Maybe reparations can come if everybody ain't eating off of it the way they've been. And let's keep going. We're the only ones talking about vote the couch. Meanwhile, immigrants, progressives are taking over Black local politics. Come on, love my folks. You better teach the word up in here. You're absolutely correct. No lies detected. the Black sororities and fraternities have been doing similar fraud. Many of them have nonprofits in Black communities and get lots of funding and do nothing. Love my folks. You're absolutely correct. But guess who the Black sororities and fraternities mostly are these days? Guess which melanated immigrants have taken over the HBCUs? Ergo, the fraternities and the sororities. I already said it. Melanated immigrants are running that. They're running the administration. They've got the highest populations of student body. So, no, it doesn't surprise me that there's fraud and abuse within those sororities and those fraternities. Another thing that's a huge disappointment are these celebrities that just take the money and run. They've done nothing to pour back into the Black community to keep it flourishing. Perry says, I didn't vote for Obama the second time. I'm glad I didn't. Oh, I wish I had not. I really regret it. The first time he won, I went to the inauguration. I wish I could take that back too. What a disappointment. Benton 7560, I did not vote for Obama at all. Very, very smart. Good to see you back. We're on code. I'm seeing all the same things. Thank you, Mario. Yes, baby. I had to come back because Amal, he kept blessing me. Some of the rest of you were blessing me. He was one of the biggest donors, but when you guys give to the broadcast and I've been gone, it's like, okay, that's my cue. Get back in the saddle, girl. Get out your feelings. Get back. What's up, Shauna Ward, 4470? Welcome to the live. Facts. Hi, American Freedman. Oh, greetings, Angela, in the chat. I love you, American Freedman. This is one of the, I think he's a brother. He's an ex, and I always am sharing his posts. I got a few favorites over there. Nas, boy, I tell you, anytime I see somebody from my tribe telling the TR Ruth, I have to share it and put my tag on it. Defeat the Demonrats. Or I talk about the immigrants whom our family fought and died to have access to this country, and they give us their ass to kiss because they are economic opportunists. They're not here to be your ally, and they never will be. They will use you, but they will never be your ally. Y'all need to just get on the square and say, we are all we've got. Because that's the TR Ruth. We are all we've got. And we need to vote against the Demonrats because this is all we've got. This country is it. This is it, and this is all. We don't have dual citizenship. There ain't no place in the known world that would give us free medical, free cash aid, free business loans or grants. Ain't nowhere in the world you could go and commit billions of dollars in fraud and kick it back to their governments. They're not going to allow you to hold public office, and nowhere in this country, nowhere in the world, excuse me. This is all we've got. The way we fight to maintain it is with the only commodity we've got left for a limited time only. The Demonrats are fully prepared to steal it and give it away to illegals. You already see it happening. In this broadcast alone, we're going to deal with the Somalis in Minnesota and Ohio tomorrow. We're going to go over to New York, talk about what's happening there. We're going to go to Chicago. I got a lot of catching up to do, but I'm on vacation, so I'll be back every day that I can be back. And then it'll probably go back to once a week. Once I'm back at work, it may be a little bit more than that because the NFL The season is coming to a close, so I won't be caught up working for them, which will free me up. So I'm back because I got 11 months to diminish the Dems, to defeat the Dems again. I'm on a mission all the way to Negro freedmen flourishing, okay? Good to see you, American freedmen. Root Trackers, I didn't vote for Barack Obama the second term. Shout out to those of you who did not fall for the Kenyan American black trick bag. No, these people are not black. They're weaponizing our lineage. They're weaponizing our never-ending Holocaust to get y'all to sheepwalk to the polls to vote for your own ethnic cleansing. Don't do it. Some of my area, it was all white people protesting. It was funny. Love My Folks is talking about the No Kings rally, where I talked about, if you haven't heard it, just rewind. But I talked about being out there with a sea of white folks. Don't deport our slaves. That's what they really should have been chanting. I was the only, melanin. I was the only black person out there. I didn't realize they were going to be out there like that on where I do my power walk. And it was hilarious. They were trying to get my interest and attention. I just had my big old headphones on and I was getting my workout in and praising the Lord. Up and down the hill. They just kept coming. Child, I paid them no mind. It was so funny. Okay. So I think I'm done. I think I caught up. Angela. Oh, Lord, y'all still writing. Okay. Angela, there is a new FBA music album out by Maloma James. It's AI generated, but it's really good. Take a listen. Wonderful. I will. And I suggest the rest of the family do too. I have heard some FBA music, maybe a song or two. I don't know if it was Maloma James, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was fire. I will check that out. Thank you for the share. These illegals are bankrupting this country. Get them the hell out of here. Perry, now you know if they bankrupting the country, what they are doing concerning the Negroes is trying to make us a permanent bottom caste. That's what's going to happen if we don't weaponize this vote and keep the Demonrats out of office. It is very imperative. They went to register their children and they're scamming daycares. Honey, yes, we're going to deal with a lot of that with the Somalis. They have rendered their children autistic. They've paid people to render their children autistic. The scams. But still, the dollar amount doesn't match what has been going on in California. It's about 1/10 of the fraud that's been happening in California. And that's why I spoke on it. And I'm kind of glad it turned out the way it did, you know, that we only focused on them today. Okay. Let me go down. I think it's time to pray us out. 2.2 million blacks in California. Is there 2.2 million of us, Pinky? $2.2 million. I have to look that up, fam. I didn't know that we were 2.2 million. Maybe I got it wrong. I'll look it up real quick, okay? Benton 7560. Those stats don't tell you everything. The reason why immigrants have a higher household median income because they have a dozen people living in one household compared to freedmen. Benton 7560. I will have to go back to the Color of Wealth, LA, to confirm that because I don't believe that to be true. I don't believe that they're living like that. What I believe is that they're bringing in melanated immigrants with money and they're getting educated by identifying as Black American or African American, which they are more African than we are. We're not Africans. But I don't believe that they're living like that. Not the Black ones, maybe the Hispanic ones. I'm dealing with the African ones. They don't have to. They're not allowing poor Blacks to come into this country akin to the way they allow poor Hispanics. That's not happening, okay? So if you're poor and you're Hispanic and you're living off the state, you might live a few people to the house, share a car. And then as you get more and more of our reparations, you can start leaving the house and building up elsewhere. But you will never see, especially in the state of California, you're not going to see melanated immigrants that are poor. The only poor ones they allow over here are the Mexican ones. They will never be melanated immigrants. It's not going down. I forgot to mention, YouTube has also shadow banned me. Well, if you're still over there, honey, I'm shadow banned. People still will find me, child. What I do now, Perry, this might help. Sometimes I don't know what time I can go live. Like tonight, I was scheduled for 7, right? And then I saw the Black Authority. They were live, and it's like, oh, some of those people from his audience will tune in to me, but not if he's on. He's got a bigger platform, so they'll stay over there. So I pushed it out to 8. But what I did was I shared the link to the YouTube over on X. I shared it on Facebook. So that's how people find me. But I just put up this live like just a couple of hours ago. And when you're giving good content, they'll follow you and they'll come and watch. I'll come and watch if I see you go live because I get tired of hearing the same old stories, same soup kind of warmed over. Now, it doesn't mean I don't touch on some of the things that they touch on, but I try to bring my perspective. I try to share talking points that they're not necessarily discussing. Like when it comes to the fraud, I said, ooh, all this California fraud, the mainstream media is not really talking about it. Let me lend my voice to it. Things like that. So don't let the shadow ban stop you from speaking up. We need as many Negroes speaking on these issues as the law will allow, honey. Yes, I'm shadow banned. I don't have as many followers as everybody else, but I don't care because my people will go out and tell someone to tell someone. So don't allow it to defeat you. Get back in the saddle and keep it going. We need your voice. Pinky Wells. Of course, their household incomes are higher, more working adults in the house, and government benefits going into that household. We can't get benefits. We will get caught scamming. Pinky, you're telling the absolute truth, but I do want to stress they're not bringing in poor Haitians, poor Caribbeans. Those days are done. Maybe in the beginning, but now they're flying in melanated immigrants with money, and they're putting them into our communities, and that's why they will not allow us to delineate. They won't allow us to delineate. This is by design because you're right. With their incomes coupled with what should be our entitlements that they're doing exclusively for the immigrants, thanks to Obama and the Office of New Americas, they're focused on giving them our reparations while telling us, no, we ain't got it. So I'm going to be showing you more of that in the coming days, okay? But you're absolutely correct. They get money on top of money. They are made more American with our reparations, our taxes, and our Social Security, and they already come in here with money. Just know it's uniquely different from the Mexicans, from the Latinos, okay? From all the other groups, even Ilhan Omar. What I found out about her, and I'll try to remember to share about it tomorrow, what I found out about her is that she is the daughter of some general that was annihilating people over in Somalia. So while she came over here and got refugee status, these would be people, she is of that ilk. She is of a superior ilk out there in Somalia and came over here, and now she's worth, I want to say, $30 million, married to a white man. So I'm going to be sharing more about that tomorrow. I don't want to get into that story. But yes, these benefits are not for us. We can't even get benefits that are designated and relegated for Americans. I just shared with you about my parishioner friend who could not even get food stamps when have her rent to rent her space rent was have her Social Security. Okay? And she's not making that much in Social Security, but they denied her a food card. So no, a lot of these benefits are going to them, and that's why they're denying Americans. And I'm so grateful that Trump is in control of the country, because the lid is being blown off of all the fraud. We're starting to really see why. I don't really know how true his assassination attempt was, but they were at least trying very hard to throw him under the jail. So now we are starting to see why. I hope they vote the couch in 28. They will vote for the Demonrats. I hear them saying they won't vote for Reparations. Well, Pinky, I'm hoping that they'll vote third party, like anybody but the Demonrats. I show up to defeat the Dems. That doesn't always mean I vote for a Reparations, but you could trust and believe these third parties, they don't talk against illegal immigration enough for my taste. So when it comes to local politics, I tried to find English-sounding names, and I vote red. My ballot bleeds, okay, out here, because the Republicans are not for illegal immigration at all. So, yeah, I do my best to flip California red. I'm in a very small minority, but I do it anyway. And then I come on my live to teach others. And that's why I had to come back, because people were saying, we need your voice in the space to talk about your protest voter strategy. I've been doing a lot of it over on X, Facebook. I've been over on TikTok, who's banned me too. But at least they haven't struck my channel a third time over there. I reach a lot of young people over there with my messaging. So although I've not been live, I've still been busy. I've been busy with good trouble, y'all. Okay. Okay, so I think I'm almost done. I'm in Tennessee, but I'll come back. I don't mind. Hi, Mario. Okay, I knew something told me that you might have left California. Well, honey, I want all of y'all to come back. We need all of y'all out here. Let's see here. Pinky, Malona James, FBA Music on channel, all viral access media. Okay, I'm going to check it out. Chicago has real estate agents looking to help illegals purchase homes. I seen an advertisement, $10,000 down payment assistance, no social security number needed. The buyer needs $5,000 or less to move in. This is what I'm talking about. And this is what happens when you vote the couch. You get Demonrats working in the interest, hand in hand with these real estate agencies. These programs are coming through the government. This is what happens when you vote the couch. You don't get out here to fight against the Demonrats, who are pro-immigrant and illegals, to our ethnic cleansing by economic genocide. You know, they had a similar program out here. They were given $25,000 down payment assistance. But prayerfully, this program you speak of, Pinky, will be as big a flop as the one they were giving them $25,000 out here. There was some horrific terms about paying it back. And if you were to sell the property, 50% of it would go back to the state. Like, the terms were dreadful. I can only hope that they're dreadful enough to deter the people there in Chicago to not get involved. Usually it's not going to benefit you when the government is offering to give you that type of down payment assistance. It was not very helpful out here, especially when you consider that the median price on the homes out here is $1 million. So $25,000 down payment really don't help you that much. And there were some other terms that just made it very strenuous, and the folks they couldn't do it. They couldn't afford it, even with $25,000 down payment assistance. So preferably that's the case out there. I've been pushing this to my family for years. I knew the birthright citizenship had to end. This gives us back our 14A. We need to jump on this to demand our place once they end the, there it is. Once they end the hijacking of our 14A. Yes, Mario. Family, repetition is the key to learning. Keep talking to your people. As long as they are open to hearing from you, keep talking. Because eventually the light bulb will go on. It goes on at different times for each of us. It went on for me when Obama, after 8 years, I voted for him 2 terms because the Negro, like the Al Sharptons and the like, kept saying he needs 2 terms to clean up what Bush did. So after 2 terms, and we were worse off than when the first time he came in there, when I saw that he had only given, I want to say 1 to 2% of small business loans to Negroes, and under Bush, he had given 6%, I was done. Stick a fork in me. And so, yeah, we must defeat them. They would never do anything like this. As a matter of fact, they're fighting against this. They want for these illegals and these immigrants to continue to use our 14A to ethnically cleanse us. That is the plan. And not enough YouTubers are stressing that. We're being ethnically cleansed by economic genocide. Y'all might be comfortable, the ones that are tuning in. I'm talking about the 70 to 80% of us that are down bad. And we need them for the lineage to survive. It's not going to do us any good to continue to abort our babies, to continue to marry outside the culture. You're giving away your reparations when you do that. To continue with their LGBTQIA-XYZ agendas. To continue with their preschool to prison pipelines. We must continue pulling ourselves up by our bootless straps and defeating the Demonrats, because only ethnically cleansing of our lineage is on their itinerary. Okay. Benton says, the funny thing, oh my God, is it 1017? Okay, I'm going to pray this out. Funny thing is, the same people that said they voted for the couch, they went out and voted for the Demonrats, especially Obama, who got voted in twice by these Negroes. Honey, I was one of those Negroes. I can't even blame the rest. I was one of those Negroes that voted for Obama twice. Well, that's the problem I have. And that's been my statement to the people that keep trying to push the couch. You cannot get us caught up in a perpetual cycle of lesser of two evil voting and then vote the couch when the Demonrats have declared war on you with your own damn vote. But all I can do is keep talking and sharing. I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, says Mario. The housing crisis, gentrification, etc. I'm working on some moves now. We need to talk. Yeah, it's happening in Tennessee too. We need to talk. But Mario, you know you and I, we don't know when to get off the phone. That's a challenge I have with talking to some of y'all. Because y'all was born to talk too. It can be a lot. Let's see here. Trump is actually saving our black ashes. Come on, Pinky. Yes, 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 he is. I'm trying to tell him, Pinky. I'm trying to tell him. They refuse. Not all. I come live so I can find my tribe. Some of our people got questions. They find my channel, they get answers. One more tribes person on the team to defeat the Dems. Let's see here. The red state, blue state. Hello, welcome to the line. I voted for President Trump, and I intend to vote conservative to keep the Dems out. Woo-hoo! That's what I'm talking about. Hey! That's a choice person. I don't know if you're male or female, but I'm proud of you. I voted for Trump too. Honestly, I voted for deportation, closed borders. Trump was the only one offering it. Yes, yes, yes. And I would have voted anybody. I'd have voted for myself before I vote Demonrat. That's never happening again till they get some act right, okay? If you a vote for the Dem, it's a vote for your ethnocide. Just, that's what it is. I gave up on California, getting out of here soon. Oh, Pinky, don't go. Don't go. We need to stay. Our people need somebody to receive them when we are victorious out here. You can't give up on California. It's too beautiful. Well, if you give up, I understand if it's for financial reasons. I totally get it. Child, it's very hard out here on our people. I don't want you to struggle. But I'm tired of seeing us go. But Angela, your voter strategy was related to national elections. Chicago is fighting a specific local issue, and most Black voters aren't watching YouTube. Most never leave the Southwest side. Well, love my folks. My voter strategy was national because we were in a national situation. You can trust I have been talking about my voter strategy longer, much sooner than that general that came up. They just got some act right during the general. That's why I got to keep the pressure on. How many years was I talking about my voter strategy? Prior to that general, that's what it took to move the needle. I wasn't just on YouTube. I was in X Spaces talking about it. I had a lot of resistance in the beginning, a ton of it, but I kept on because Arthur Ward said, you need to keep talking about it. You need to keep showing up and speaking about it. I would speak to people boots on the ground that were open to hearing it. I wasn't just on YouTube. I was everywhere. And then nationally, it just caught on. People were like, no, we can't vote the couch. They heard me when I said how that's hurting us. Now, I'm not the only one that got the vote for Trump to 28%, but that's the most Negro. Well, I don't even know. Some of that could have been melanated immigrant. We're flat Black. I don't know. But I do know that 28% of the Black voters that showed up to vote Trump was a first. Now, I may not have been the only one to influence that. I can definitely say I wasn't the only one, but enough of us was talking about it. And when you show up to the general, you're not just voting for the president, you're voting for your local politics too. So it matters that we got up off the couch and went out here to do what we had to do. And that had an impact nationwide, but also locally. Okay? So, no, we've not gotten the majority of our people to do it yet, but it doesn't mean we give up on trying to influence and make the case for why they should weaponize their votes. And I do consider my voice to have added to the impact of how we got 28% for deportation, closed borders. I voted Trump because he was the only one offering it. And I knew I had to defeat the Demonrats, no matter what. And I'm so glad I did. Pinky Wells, I like it, but it's all AI generated. Don't really know if it's really our people, but seems like it. Be careful. Yes, American freedmen. Lots of Africans and immigrants are really making a gang of money talking about our issues. That's another reason why I said I got to come back up in here. I'm seeing Africans talk about our stuff and they're monetized. They're making a fortune. So before you invest in AI or any of these things, make sure it's benefiting the Negro freedmen. You have to starve these economic opportunists out. Don't shop with them. You can listen to their stuff, but, get in and out. I'm going to try to be doing some of the things I see them covering, because why should they be capitalizing and using us as a resource to make themselves wealthy? We need to be doing that for ourselves. We need to be telling our stories and talk about what's going on out here. So, yeah, we have to get to the place where there's an economic boycott of all these people that are simply trying to capitalize and not do a damn thing to help us move off the bottom of the Titanic. Stop giving them your money. Learn to do your own nails. Learn to do your hair. Learn to do whatever you got to do, but shop and buy Negro. We got to find a way to do it. I mentioned on one of my broadcasts how I go to a few grocery stores because the first one I go to is Black-owned, right in my neighborhood. She's got two Black-owned grocery stores. Okay? I go to the one closest to me, and then I'll go to the others. But that's what we must do. Help our own people. I voted for Trump this last time. I wasn't giving my vote to a Dixiecrat to get nothing for it. Amen, Perry. That's the spirit. Oh my God, it's 10:26. The Chicago activists are alerting city council members, but local Black citizens aren't engaged. There's over 200,000 in the city, and they have like 10 people at the city council. Who has 10 people at the city council? Love my folks. Are you in Chicago, babe? I thought you were out here. Anyway, what I can say to that is they're having an impact because they're going on Fox. They're going on different news channels, mostly Fox, mostly conservative channels where they're getting visibility. But they're mighty, and I don't know how many people. We're going to be able to tell during the midterms how impactful they are. Let's just put it like that, okay? I have to be honest. It's going to be the Black freedman woman who's going to get things popping. These Black males are straight cowards, and I'm a Black man saying this. Benton 7560. We are a force of nature and have always been. Yes, the Black American Negro freedman woman is a force to be reckoned with. But we got some guys out here doing so too. It's going to take the both of us. It truly is. We got to lock arms and get this done, family. Stay and fight in Cali. Somalis are also in Boston. Okay. On welfare, driving a Benz. Yes, Pinky. Yes, the Somalis on welfare, driving Benzes. Oh, honey, the fraud is rampant. JD don't seem to like his wife much. Well, Root Trackers, I believe that marriage is in trouble because I don't think she likes him either. I think she's really starting to see the racism he's cut from. And she's probably questioning who she really married because they are giving Usha Vance the blues. Do you hear me? And I'm here for it. I love nothing more than sipping my hot pipe of tea and munching on my popcorn, watching the fireworks between the rhinos, the MAGA, the immigrants. As long as Negroes get a break, I am just happy as I can be. Pinky says J.D. Vance is not going to be the Republican running in 28. I don't know. Vivek is not going to be the governor. He will never be the president. Thank you, Pinky. I needed that. Swarmy is getting that ninja work he never saw coming with his self-hating arse. Oh, Lord, I don't know what you're talking about. Being deported. I'm not worried about it. $1 million a month need to be gone. See, that's what's up, Grant. Grant Joe H 2931. Thank you for joining the live. Family, if it's going to make any real impact, It needs to be $1 million a month, but it ain't. We'll be lucky at the end of his term if we got 10% of them up out of here, truthfully. Angela, Negro love is good marriage advice. Yes, baby. Negro love, marriage, and babies. Lots of them. I was talking to one of my parishioners today. She's a Negro, married to a Negro, and they've got 2 beautiful small kids. I said, when you're having a third? The store is closed for me. Or I'd have 10. No, I'm just kidding. It's very expensive out here in California. I got the one, that's enough. But yeah, Negro love, marriage, and babies is the real revolution. All right, Pinky. I have a niece going to Howard in 26. Beautiful. When the celebrities spend their money out here, it used to be on the YTRS. Now they spend it on the Latinos, honey. It's sad. It's just tragic. But we warned about the immigrants, and most of our people didn't listen. It's so true. I'm back. Where'd you go? There's nowhere else in the world I'd want to live. America's where it's at. Love my folks. You ain't ever lied. We better fight for it, family. We got to fight. The people ish on us every chance they get. They get no support from Mr. Dunham. Thank you. They do to us what they did to their own people in the country they fled from. Very tribal, Pinky. I had a post that I shared that the Somalis are getting the treatment from Trump that the Somalis give to Black Americans. It's rich, it's epic, and I'm here for it, darling. I'm loving every bit of it. But I got some things to show y'all, and I'm sure they're pandering for us to get involved, but it makes me feel good when I hear the immigrants speak the truth to power about the Negro and their contribution. Some of them, even if they're only acting, they seem very grateful. I've heard so much hate that I'm going to bring you that as well. I saw that on one of the African channels, but I'm going to share it anyway because it felt good, and I need us to feel good right now about what we've created in this country. We are a powerful, beautiful, brilliant people. So I'm going to share that because you need to know and be reminded. Okay, y'all are still working. Listen, this has been a 2.5-hour live. It was supposed to only be 2 hours. So let me do our decree and our declaration. And then I'm going to pray us out. Our prayer of protection, okay? The moral of the story, we are all we've got. We must put the mask on the lineage. We are out of time. We must weaponize the only thing we've got left, a protest vote. We must defeat the Demonrats, whose only plan for the Negro is ethnic cleansing by economic genocide with more immigrants and illegals. They are seeking to not only replace our vote, they are seeking to end the lineage. Remember, Negro love, marriage, and babies is the real revolution. And that's what they've done to try to ensure that we keep gender wars going. Lots of these gender wars are being started by immigrants. They're doing real nefarious things to make sure that we don't have the numbers and that we don't get any power. And so we've got to do what we're doing now, delineating, and we must continue to fight for reparations, no matter how bleak it looks. We have to believe. All it takes is the faith of a mustard seed and for us to continue to show up for each other. Continue to fight. Don't discount your viral messages. Don't discount your post and who they may reach. Definitely boots on the ground, but know that you might come across some opposition because there's a lot of people that look like us and sound like us, but they ain't us. And they are throwing our stuff in the trash. Where you've got the numbers, capitalize on those opportunities. Get involved. We have no time to rest. Not when it comes to making sure we take advantage of this time that Trump is in office, okay? I hope you enjoyed tonight's live. I sure enjoyed seeing y'all. I missed y'all so much. I want to thank my co-hosts for keeping it lit like y'all always do. Thank you for the Cash App, Perry, and whomever else blessed the channel. Continue to do so that I can continue to come to you live. Thanks for tuning in. A like, a share, subscribe. Those things also help to grow our voices. So please do that as well. Let's get on. I got a lot. This is my favorite part, y'all. My declare and decree, honey. Ooh, the ghetto. I got to put the whammy on these people. Let me find it real quick. Lord have mercy. Where'd it go? Okay. All right. Oh, you may see that the music is different, right? Well, I'm trying to see if I switch the music up, will they stop giving me copyright strikes? For some reason, when I use my brother's music, for some reason, I keep getting copyright strikes. Well, I don't think it's for some reason. I think he sold the music someplace where he could get a percentage of the deals, you know, trying to make money off his music. He's so uber talented, and I prefer his music. But whomever he sold it to, or whoever he's in partnership with to get a cut of those proceeds, they give me a copyright strike for using it. So I had Umoya from ETM Media Group, in the mass media, to put some different music under it to see if I continue to get those copyright strikes. So you're going to hear a difference in the outro, just so you know, and you'll hear a difference on the intro too. I declare and decree that the highest form of righteous judgment is served over all corrupt beings of the government, judicial system, including the police officers, CPS, Child Protective Services, the judges, the attorneys, the FBI agents, the CIA, and all the personnel working for the U.S. corporation with 3 Ks, the Demonrats, and the Republicans with wicked intentions. All hidden corruption and agendas are now destroyed forevermore in spirit and in flesh, in sleep and in awakened states across all timelines, realms, and dimensions, known and unknown. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever Negro freedmen and its allies are, God truly is, because, family, you are the face of God. Yes, you are the voice of God. You are the body temple of the Spirit of the living God. Until we meet again tomorrow, probably around the same time, 8:00 p.m., I want you to make it a beautiful, God-inspired rest of your evening. And until we meet again, I'm believing for each and every one of us a ton of peace, love, reparations, deportations, and delineation, family. Yes, I am, y'all. Yes, I am. I love y'all, Negro Freedmen Strong. Yes, I do, including our allies. For those of you that are watching, thank you so very much. Stay tuned for the outro. I love y'all. Okay, I hope this is a new one, y'all. Let's see. Oh, is that the new one? Let's see. That's it, y'all. Love y'all. Love y'all. Mwah, 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 mwah. Peace.